before starting, I would say that I couldn't prepare the PPT because of the involvements in conference, but I must share what I'm doing and what is the scenario. So this paper is authored by me and my research guide, Dr. Mallikarjun Angadi, who is chairman of the Department of Library Information Science at TISS Mumbai. He couldn't come here. So what I'm going to talk will come after 1 minute. I would like to start my talk with one small mythological story of Lord Hanumana and Surya Dev. Once Lord Hanumana went to Surya Dev and requested him to give him knowledge. Then Surya Dev said, I cannot be available to you to give my knowledge to you because I have to continuously run. Then Hanumana said, okay sir, I'll continue with you, I'll run with you and then you can teach me. Then Surya said, that is not possible because for transfer of knowledge from one person to another person, the eye contact is necessary. Then Hanumana said, okay, I'll run in front of you by looking at you, means run backward so that you can see me and I can see you. So that is a mythological story, but very important point when it comes to sharing of knowledge from one person to another person, eye contact is necessary. Means now I am talking to you and if you don't look at me, something will miss, it happens. This is one aspect just I started to connect. Another thing I would like to mention, Karl Popper. Everybody knows Karl Popper, the father of, I think, modern science. He talks about 3 worlds, world 1, 2, and 3, and talks about existing knowledge. So in the Popper's 3rd world, the knowledge is not in the form of human brains. It is embodied in some literature. And B.C. Brooks, one of the pioneer authors of information science, in 70s he published series of papers on foundations of information science, and he asserted that till date, the library science conception of knowledge organization has concentrated on the world 2 of the Popper, embodied knowledge in some form that we have been organizing since years. But he talks about, Brooks talks about that it is now necessary to look into the interaction of world 2 and world 3, that is the human brain interacting with the embodied knowledge. So knowledge sharing is now not connected with man to man, but the knowledge sharing, knowledge transfer is now connected from the embodied knowledge to the human brain. At that time in 70s, the technologies available were not capable of looking into this aspect. Although librarians have developed, I am also a librarian, so generations of librarians developed many knowledge organization systems over a period of more than, I think, 150 years. And the result is, if you go to any library of the world, if they are following DDC, Dewey Decimal Classification System, you won't find difficult to locate your book. Everywhere, the same location, same place you will find. But this is not the scene with the digital libraries. All the libraries are following some sort of systems of organization, classification systems, thesaurus, taxonomy, authority files, all these systems are in place and are being practiced by all the libraries of the world. But this is not the scene in knowledge, digital libraries. Digital libraries is a superset of ETDs, means ETDs are subset of digital libraries. So the same applies to ETDs, especially when the electronic thesis and dissertation repositories are built. It is not built for only that institution. It is built for the whole world. And then different interfaces, different search methods, and different methods of retrieving information from place to place. So for end users, it becomes difficult. So this was the problem where we wanted to look into that how knowledge organization systems can be used in digital libraries and implicitly in ETD repositories. Okay. Having said this, I would like to mention about some guidelines regarding digital libraries and the scenario of digital libraries. World Summit on Information in 2005, if you read that document, it mentions that many countries of the world have started their digitization program and development of digital archives. Similarly, if you see the ROAR, Repository of Open Access Repositories, till 90s, the number of repositories increasing was very slow. I'm sorry. From 90 to in 90s, the number increased very rapidly, and from 2000 onwards, if you see the numbers, every day it is increasing. When I submitted my PhD proposal, there were less than 3,000 repositories. Now it is more than 3,000 repositories registered there. So number of digital libraries are increasing, but we are lacking with a proper guideline for digital libraries. There is guideline, there are some guidelines. IFLA UNESCO Manifesto for Digital Libraries, if you look into that, it says that collections of digital objects are developed on the basis of internationally accepted methods and practices. But in case of digital libraries, there is no internationally accepted methods. If you look, I have looked into the repositories, more than 100 repositories I have explored. There is no standard way of organizing their collections. The collections are being organized, I think, on ad hoc basis, according to their need. If I give you example of JNU, we are in the process of developing that thing, ETD repository, and it is in place, and we have given the arrangement like schools and centers. If you go somewhere, you will find types of documents are the collections, and then within that, means there is no standard format. Now, Sarah mentioned in her presentation that who creates the metadata of the ETD repositories. In first hand, it is the research scholar who is unaware of the controlled vocabularies and knowledge organization systems. And the cataloging people, if they are using the same metadata in repositories, it is not a standard. Another thing, there is no standardization in the hierarchy and collections of documents. If you look into the standardization in controlled vocabularies in metadata description, it is not like that. Above this, one of the papers in JASIST, I forgot the author's name, the title is Incompleteness of Metadata. They found that most of the repositories of the world have incomplete metadata. It is not complete. That is one problem. So there is no standard guideline how digital libraries should be organized. There are guidelines how it should be developed, the technological aspects, the computing technology. But organization of knowledge is something else. So I'm trying to look into the scenario with the help of library science perspective of organizing knowledge and the latest technologies like semantic web and RDF and many other aspects. So when I looked into the literature, that is literature review, the systematic literature review is one of the phases of my study to know what can be done. What can be done in the context of applying knowledge organization systems in digital libraries. And I would I would mention few of them. If I talk about thesaurus, there are more than 25 research papers which reports the research findings that if thesaurus is used in describing the metadata as well as browsing as well as searching, it greatly enhances the information discovery from the repositories. If I talk about taxonomy, Dr. Christopher Khu from Singapore, he did many research on this, and they developed interfaces of digital libraries with the help of taxonomy and did a study on the students and faculties and found that the end users are willing to dig into the taxonomies before going to free text search. So these instances prove that knowledge organization systems can greatly enhance information discovery from the repositories. But these things are missing in the guidelines. NISO guideline for digital repositories talks about controlled vocabulary. That is true. NISO guideline is there for digital repository. It talks about that the metadata should contain the controlled vocabulary content so that there is a standardization. However, it is silent about how the collection should be organized, how the browsing interface should be there. There should be some sort of standardization in that also. So when we started looking into the existing repositories, I cannot present all the findings here, but in summary, it is very rare, particularly in ETD repositories. Yesterday, I have been told in one of the presentation that Shodh Ganga is now going to develop semantic interface for information discovery. These type of initiatives are very rare. Means out of 200 repositories, I couldn't find more than 3. Still, I have to look into that. The research is in progress. Metadata, if we look into that, I saw that there is no standardization. Very few repositories are giving, like Shodh Ganga is also implementing LCSH to describe the content. So this type of scenario is not very common. However, the research on this area is very, very prolific. People are working on that. They are finding that this is useful, and the scenario in real practice is not same. So I think this much I wanted to share with you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Just because, I worked in the area of this ontologies and semantic web. This is going to be, this is not a simple area because as he was talking about discrepancies and heterogeneities in the way of representing information, and which is not as standardized. So maybe ontologies can help you out, but setting up an ontologies is not also an easy task, because it's another very promising area in the area of computer science, where you talk about semantic web and ontology, because of the heterogeneity in information which are now, there is a demand